Good morning, or good afternoon, good night. I could better say to you. How are you guys doing today? Welcome back. What a news! What a news! What a news from the man himself, DJT, Donald J. Trump, with his latest statement. Have you guys read the newspapers? Let me see if we can actually share it up for you guys here already, because it's like a major push. Some major news here from the Uncle Trumpy. All right, we're looking forward to talk about this. Welcome back to the stream. I hope you guys are all doing well here. Yeah, absolutely amazing, man. What's happening? What an opening gap, I could better say. Look at gold. Look at that gap. This is a what? 600 pip gap. 800 pip gap we have to cover. Of course, the peace deal that we have been talking about for weeks apparently have been confirmed. So we're going to talk about this today. What is going up for gold right now? Gold is shooting up. So interesting, right? Gold was, undervalued on the daily time frame. Do you guys remember that? We were talking about this very deeply, very clearly. Undervalued on the daily time frame against the dollar. And there we go. Now we're going. We took out that low, and now we're making a move through. Anyways, a lot of things to talk about here. A new trading week ahead of us. Looking forward to it. Let me see what we have with us in the chat. And I think we get the party started, man. Let's make it happen. Let's see what we have with us. Yes. Yeah, let me check. Bradley, good morning, man. How are you? Soul Adventure, good to see you. Brad, Isabella, Ivy, good to see you. How are you doing? Alex, what's up? Connie, yo. Hit a banger with my over the weekend buy. Well, then you're in some juice right now. Incredible. That's great. Nam Facts, man, what's up? How are you? My man, Dan. Love it. Okay. Yo, perfect. Okay, let's get the party started, my friends. Crazy markets. Let's get party started with the open of the week. And we have so many things to talk about. Yeah, let's get to work, man. We can't waste our time anymore. We have to look at the gold charts right now because, yeah, it's getting interesting. It's getting interesting. All right, sounds good. That's good. Let's go. Welcome back. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back, my friends. Yo, what's happening? Welcome back to another Asian session. Yes, sir. We're going to do a hybrid this week of Asia and New York. This is one of the weeks where we're going to maybe mix it all up a little bit, depending also on the markets. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting week so far. I just wanted to discuss the weekly open with you guys right now. The main reason why is, of course, because of the news that just came out in terms of Donald Trump. You guys have read it all right here. Let me read it for you right now at this current moment. This great peace deal will bring peace and security to the whole region. Many presidents have tried to make peace with Iran and have failed before me. The leaders of the region have, for the first time, found a president who can help them achieve real peace. With the opening of the Strait upon the signing of the deal on Friday. For purposes of mine removal, oil will flow on both ends again for the region and the world, President Donald J. Trump. So you clearly understand why this is such a big deal. A lot of people have been waiting for this forever. Is this gonna be secured? No, because they're talking about quote unquote Friday, okay? Signing of the deal on Friday. So anyways, everything is looking good so far. However, what I think you guys have to pay attention to as well is not just the fact that Donald Trump came out with some really good news as well. I just want to, bring some clarity back to the markets as well from a regular economic standpoint, some economic outlooks. And I think it's important for you also to be aware of the FOMC this Wednesday. Don't forget that. This Wednesday, yeah. Don't forget that, okay? Don't forget, we will have the FOMC as well this Wednesday, okay? That's going to be big. It's going to be big. No rate cuts, no rate hikes, clearly. But we're going to get, of course, a speech, okay? And that is going to be super important because it's going to be one of those interesting speeches right now. I believe it's going to be done by Kevin Warsh, our new Federal Reserve president as well. So pay attention to that. That's going to be important for us to pay attention to see what his stance is on the current market. Now, the CPI came out last week, right? So all of these things are going to come hand in hand as well here according to this week. So this is going to be a very important week for not just gold, for the whole market. Now, you guys have seen what happened with SpaceX as well here. Just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that because we talked about this last Friday, right? It actually opened up quite strong. And you can see exactly what happened. We opened at 35 or something. We came as high as 177 and we closed at 161. So that is still significantly positive, actually. Okay. Now we're going to see in this week how this is going to develop. But I think you should also just pay attention to this in general. Okay. Pay attention to this. I think it's going to be interesting to pay attention to the SpaceX as well. Okay. Now, in terms of gold, let's talk about the higher time frame first because, we have been talking about this thing forever already dropping. And you guys know that I love these, what we call the valuation index. The reason why is because we have been using this so much. I also talk about it a lot in my book as well, if you guys want to learn about it. I talked about valuation and how that works. We use the elastic band analogy, okay? The elastic band analogy. It actually falls under this segment right there. Valuation worked through market correlation, okay? So valuation goes hand in hand or side to side with valuation, okay? And if you can see here, the primary valuation for gold, right here, the primary valuation for gold is what we call the USD index, the dollar index, okay? Gold is inversely correlated to dollar, and the yields, of course, related to the dollar. Rising USD pressures gold, okay? And vice versa, okay? So what happens is that every time when we're undervalued, we tend to react on the higher time frame, okay? So you can see here, we were, let me actually pull this up real quick, and this leads us to where we are right now at the moment. There we go. We were undervalued right here. Look at the bottom there. We were overvalued right there. Clear top. Overvalued there, and it didn't came out on top here. Here we were overvalued, came out on top here. Here we were undervalued, created this bottom. Undervalued, created this bottom. And now we took out those lows. And we reached it undervaluation right here. And look at where we bounced from, right? We bounced from long-term daily support after swiping those lows, sweeping those lows right there. So that is an important layer. And of course, now Trump comes out with the peace deal. It always seems so perfectly timed from a technical standpoint as well, by the way. So interesting to watch the alignment always take place. It's so beautiful to watch, beautiful to watch. Anyways, that is the higher time frame. What happened on the weekly as well is that you tapped into strong weekly demand zone, by the way. Strong weekly demand zone on the weekly. We tapped into it already before. We tapped into it again and we reacted and we closed above that as well. So the higher time frame is in definitely strong support for gold right now at the moment. But we cannot neglect that data, okay? Now on the 12 hour, if we go a bit lower, we already see that they are seeing new demand getting formed here. We have one here. And now we have that opening gap. Okay, we have that strong opening gap sitting right there. And that opening gap was as big as, I don't know, how many pips? It was huge. If I'm not mistaken, it was at least around, what, 600? 800 pips. 800 pips to the upside, okay? That's the opening gap that we're currently talking about right now at the moment here. You can already see what's happening, though. Like, this is the open. The orange line that you see right there is actually the Sunday open. So, yeah, we have that opening gap, but we also have the opening level. And that actually happened around here. And now at this moment in time, we're trying to break back above that level. You see that? We're trying to break back above that. So that means that the weekly candle has flipped bullish right now as well here. Okay, this is the weekly candle right there on the current week. We came down a little bit, we flipped, and now we're flipping bullish again immediately. Okay, so keep in mind we do have some more resistance though right now already ahead of us. You can see this right here, and we see this also yeah, right here. We have some more resistance coming. Okay, I just want you to be aware of that. You can kind of see that we haven't broken structure yet, right? We haven't broke above those major highs yet. That will be the ideal case scenario if you start breaking above those highs, because then you can just see easy continuations. But you can see that we definitely still have to push through that resistance right now at this current moment. But at the same time, you can see that every bottom, pretty much every pullback is getting bought up immediately. Okay, this is kind of what we're seeing right now on gold. I tried to short it right here for a second. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just short it, see if it can pull back lower. Nope, it got bought up immediately, right? Directly got bought up as well here. So this is something that we have to pay attention to. Like, I literally tried, as you can see right here. Let me just give me an example, because I just did it right there. You can kind of see it right there, right? Execution labels, look at that. Yeah, so I shorted it at 43.15.9, and I was like, nope. I closed it at 43.15.3 on futures, because I was like, there is no way. It's getting bought up, it's react positively, and it's just trying to push up higher. So it was worth a quick short. I don't know. I was trying to short it back for a higher low or for a pullback, right? For a potential push up higher, but we couldn't come down lower. Right, we pretty much were getting up immediately at that moment right there. So was just trying to you know, see if I could get aggressively short, but it was not really the right decision after all, I guess, because you saw the immediate reaction. I was like, nah, it's getting bought up way too quickly, and in this type of you know, with this type of fundamental confirmation, you should be regarded as very cautious as well. Anyways, okay. Now in terms of the order flow, you can actually see that on the 15-minute time frame, a lot of volume was traded right here in this area. You see this? Point of control, a lot of volume. And this is exactly where we're holding that support right now, okay? So if you want to short it and you say, I need to short gold because I want to look for the pullback, in my opinion now, I think the right confirmation would be you need to close below this level, okay? So pretty much below the low for a quick push down, which is like a 200 pip move back towards the next logical move right there, okay? Which is gonna be the value or the point of control right there. I just want to clarify there is a chance that we still pull back. If we close below that, I think it's important to not just say, we're going to go up, because of course it is very bullish. But keep in mind, we are still in major resistance right here. Okay, we still have that range here. And that range right now is just holding us back a little bit as well at the same time. Okay, so how do we deal with it? What are the next strong levels of support? What's like the ideal level to buy from if we pull back? I'm not saying that we will, but I'm just going to mark out the levels anyways. And then I think we're going to go back to the lower time frame here. And then I'm willing to look at the lower time frame again to see, okay, what are the potential scenarios that we either pull back or we might just continue to go higher with the order flow and stuff. We can kind of maybe find the scalp. But let's just mark out our levels anyways here, okay? So first things first, you know, we talked about the higher time frame support and everything like that, okay? That is pretty much right around there, okay? We have the higher time frame support right here. This is something that we already talked about. Then we pretty much created that huge breakout. We had that pullback, and then we just kept in the range and we never broke structure and we just continued to go higher. And now we have, let's say, that opening gap right here, okay? So the only way what I like to look at right now is to do this. And that is to pretty much look at the previous high and the previous low. So for example, this is swing high and this is the swing low, okay? And we're still operating within this overall swing right now, even though it looks like we already, you know, very strongly pushing higher. We are still operating in between the swing high right here and the swing low right there, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use like a tool called the volume profile. We're gonna use this one, and we're gonna mark it out, and we're gonna use that tool, and we're gonna take this fixed volume profile, and we're gonna put it over that swing high, all the way to that swing low, okay? And that gives us the point of control. Do you see that? It gives us the point of control, which is actually that red line right there. And that is where last week, you could say, because it was all pretty much last week, right? The most volume was traded. So the most trades were actually executed in terms of volume throughout that swing high, all the way down to that swing low. This is where the most volume was traded, okay? Where the most volume was traded right there. So I think that is a very, very interesting level to watch if we pull back. I don't necessarily look for a complete gap fill at all. I think that we're going to find support already, you know, potentially earlier than that. I think this is the level that we need to watch, okay? If we pull back, right? The 4264 is that level that I think is super important to pay attention to right here on gold, okay? The point of control is always going to be interesting. I think on futures, it is the value area high, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, on the futures, it's a bit of a different, it's a different level. Let me actually look at it right there. Look at this level right there. 15-minute, okay? Swing high to swing low. Value high, okay? That's 4280. It's a little bit of a different level, but on the spot chart, which I think the only thing that you guys care about is the spot chart, right? According to the poll, it's the 4264. I think that is a super important level to pay attention to right now at this current moment here. Okay, so anyways, that is an important level. Otherwise, also I would pay attention to that area below that. I think there's just another level below, which is the volume node right there. I think on futures also an important level to pay attention to as well here. So we have a lot of support when we pull back to this area right around there. And I would definitely look for buys right there, but I don't think that we're going to get there, to be honest. It's holding up really strong, but never say never. Never say never, okay? So let's go to the 5-minute. And then you can actually see that we're actually holding and respecting that low right now, okay? We're looking really strong in my opinion. I don't think that we're looking that particularly weak. We're kind of respecting every level where buyers stepped in, where sellers stepped in. You can kind of see this right there. We're just holding up and we're just respecting it right now at this current moment. So initially, I was really trying to short it, but it was just too risky to short. That's the conclusion I came when I tried it. And yeah, it seems that longs are just the better play right now if we pull back. And if we close below the low, so that means if we close below, let's say this level right there, right there. Let's say we close below that, okay? So we have to really, really look at this right now. And we can say, okay, if we close below, I need to see the exact level where I'm watching here. I think it's this level. the 15-minute. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much this low. You just have to close below the low, right? And if you close below the low, you're going to get that quick squeeze down probably. And we're going to see 200 pip move to the downside, something like that. But that's the short. Right now, there's another level, which is also another level that's holding us back, which is this high at this current moment. So in order to understand where we are with gold, let's also look at the dollar real quick. I think it's important to look at the dollar as well. Dollar. Yeah. The thing about the dollar is that's the interesting part, right? The dollar is actually right now in that higher time frame support. Look at that. Look at the dollar, okay? Look at the dollar is in higher time frame support, but what is actually free falling right now is actually very interesting. We're seeing something very interesting in the markets. And that is actually that the yield is dropping. You see that? The yield is dropping, but the dollar is holding support. So in this case, I would suggest to focus on the yields. Why? Because it's all about now the safe haven aspect, the risk on environment. It's all about risk off to risk on again because of Trump and his beautiful news here around Iran and the peace deal and the agreement, etc. A lot of people that were really fearful in the markets, they bought government bonds. They bought these, treasury bonds, okay? Now, because of this news, they're potentially willing to sell those treasury bonds. So the dollar yield, the 10-year yield is going to drop, okay? Okay, the bonds are going to rise and the yields are going to drop. So you should see the bonds rising. This is what you can see right now. Okay, this is the futures, T-bond futures, okay? Which is actually inversely correlated with the 10-year yield, okay? Or the 30-year yield, the 10-year note futures also are pushing up and the yields are pushing down. Okay, so the dollar is a bit of a lagging indicator right now, okay? So we cannot really trust the dollar completely at this current moment. What we have to look at is the 10-year yield, okay? So if we want to use gold and we want to use our variation on gold, you can actually kind of see that we cannot use that. We have to use the 10-year yield right there. And we type in the 10-year yield, and now we're getting a clear indication of where gold stands against, the yields, for example, okay? So that is kind of what we're paying attention to right now. So let's go to the higher time frame. Next level on the yields is actually not that far away, by the way. It's actually around here. Okay, we still have an area where we have to pay attention to very, very soon already. And I don't think we're that far away from it. So do I think that gold could still pull back? Maybe. But right now, we are going to find higher time frame resistance, okay? What is the next area of resistance for gold if you come up higher? Let me look at that as well. So we have this level marked out. We have our support. We know where we look for pullbacks for if we pull back. This is like a no-brainer for longs, in my opinion. The 4264. But the resistance will probably be in this range. Okay? And I don't think we're that far away from it, to be honest. Now looking at it, I don't think we're that far away from it. I already see the resistance being the very low of that range and the point of control. Okay, so that is going to be in between 4316 and 4327. 4317 and 4327, pretty much. Okay, that is pretty much the zone that we're watching right there. So yeah, keep in mind, we might find some resistance here too. Okay, we might find a little bit of resistance here. I would just be very cautious with shorting. I tried to short already, and it didn't end well. I mean, I ended on a break even, but it was not. It was getting bought up immediately, and I was like, "Oh, that's gonna be a good resistance," because we saw like, the double top getting created right here, etc., etc. But it pretty much created a higher low, and then it took out those highs. Yeah, so pay attention to this. But we do have next resistance, and that is actually right here. Okay, why do we have it there? Because we simply look at the range. Okay, we haven't broken structure yet because we tapped into higher time frame support. This is the swing high. So if you want to switch the trend, we want to actually start breaking above that. We need to break above the swing high, and we need to create a higher low, right? So right now we are still trying to do that. We're trying to break those highs. Number one, okay? And the yield right now will reach, according to what we just talked about, I think major support as well. So pay attention to this. Yeah, I do think we're going to find some, maybe a little bit of resistance here very, very soon. Let's look at the higher time frame on the 4-hour order flow as well. Yeah, I think so. Most likely right there. We're not that far away from it. Okay. We are not that far away from it. Let me see here. Let's make this also a bit higher. We need to really fine tune it today. There we go. Is it the same? 89.50. Oh, sorry. I'm looking way too high. Right here. Yeah, exactly. Right there. Yeah, actually, I do believe we have definitely some resistance as well. It might be worth giving it a try because we might have to pull back at some point a little bit. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, for now it looks strong, guys. It looks strong. Gold looks strong. Of course, we know why. Oh yeah, pay attention to this area. Yeah, well, these are monster buys, by the way. If we can pull back at some point, we don't have to fill the whole gap, by the way. I don't think so. We just have to pull back, retrace maybe, I don't know, the point of control is around 50% of that gap, of that retracement. So it's kind of interesting as well. This zone is by default going to be very interesting to watch if you pull back. Yeah, we're going to find resistance very soon as well. Okay, we're not far away from that resistance either. So we know that. Major resistance, by the way. Major resistance right there. 50 on futures. How much is that on spot? Let's see. That is 50 on futures is... What is the difference? 36 and 15. So it's a 20-point difference. We might have to look even higher. Yeah, 50s. Yeah, we have to watch that level, man. We might actually have to look a bit higher, to be honest. We're gonna get rejected very soon already. Probably around here. But the real resistance is actually sitting a bit higher. Yo, bro, did you see the brawl between Dylan Dennis and Khamzat Chimaev? That was crazy. Yes, I've seen that. The wrestling thing. Yeah, I've seen that, man. What a surprise. What a surprise. Would never expect that. Anyways. Yeah, why live again in Asia? We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna mix Asia and New York. I like Asia. I enjoy it. It's also in the morning for me, which is great. And at the same time, we had to discuss the news today because this is a crazy open, of course. Right? We've never... When was the last time we saw a 700, 800 pip gap? That is a long time ago. that is a long time ago. So if you were in a long on a Friday, then and you stick through it, then you are in a good position right now, my friend. In a very good position, actually. Very good position. Yeah? Man. Yeah, you see? Yeah, no, what I think is happening right now, I think we're going to shoot up and we're going to get and test the 50s on futures, which is the 30s on spot. Okay? The 30s on spot. So I actually think that we're going to try to come up to this right line, to this red line right here. Okay? That's what I think. I think we're going to come back up to this red line, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the red line. And test the point of control. And I think if you want to go aggressive short, if I want to do that actually, if I want to go aggressive short, then that's very aggressive. So that will be around there, because this is where the 4 hour starts to kick in here. Okay, the 4 hour order flow. You also see these major orders, by the way. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Let me actually do this also here on the 1 hour time frame. Let's include the CPR. And let's turn this into tick sync with chart. And then we're going to add in 2000. Then we're going to make it 1000. Yeah, there we go. And let's do this on a 50-minute as well. Yeah, the major support is already there. That is exactly, I think, the level that we were watching for buys. Yeah. But we're looking for sells. I mean, yes, I actually am looking for sells because we are creating higher highs, we're creating lower lows. I think we have to pull back at some point a little bit. The dollar is in support and the yield will reach that support very soon. Don't forget that. The yield will actually reach major higher time frame support as well, okay? We're not that far away. We're not that far away from it. And the dollar is still at higher time frame support as well. Right? We can also not neglect that the dollar candle is actually bullish right now. The daily candle on the dollar is bullish. Interesting enough, but we are bullish as well. And we're reacting from this area. So gold is squeezing higher. But the dollar is in support. The yields are very soon in support. And we'll reach major resistance very soon, which is at the 30s. Yeah, I was actually trying to short it, but now I'm like, it was just getting bought up immediately. And of course, the news is so bullish for gold. Do I want to go against that is the question. Yeah, I would try to. If you could potentially pull back, and I would take that risk right there. We are still in higher time frame resistance, and we will reach a higher time frame resistance as well here very soon. If this swing high gets taken out, I think that we are completely shifting the trend. But yeah, the beautiful thing about the macro understanding, the higher time frame, guys, and the volume and the valuation that we talked about, these things don't lie. They're very, very accurate. These are very accurate predictors, okay? Even if the news was not even bullish, even if there was no peace deal agreement, even if it was just about maybe yes or no, very unsure, I still believe gold would made its potential pullback, at least try to pull back, because whatever is overstretched for a long period of time needs to at some point pull back. And I think this was just a prime example of that. But of course, the news only accelerated this, in my opinion. Usually accelerated it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching this level very closely. Kind of this zone right now is what I'm watching, okay? The 50s. Everything else looks pretty strong overall. It's always funny when you're dealing with like a Monday opening gap, because a lot of people will indeed try to short it, and then it never gets there. It always like you know, or maybe it tries to fill the gap, and then people expect the gap to be fully filled, and then it never fills the gap fully, and it just continues to go higher from there. But I don't think we're that far away from some serious resistance. So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm gonna give it a try. Yeah, definitely around here. I also marked out all my daily zones in the order flow. I was like, yeah, this is gonna go. This is gonna go. This is gonna be an amazing pullback. And I'm gonna long from here, or I'm gonna long from here. And we're gonna get the best entry. But of course, we gapped open. But here also in the daily time frame, this is where that major resistance is at. And we're not that far away from it right now at the moment. So I think we're going to trade into this. And there's a 20-point difference between futures and spots. So this is, for example, the 43.50. So that resistance on spot, the CFD gold, the Xau Usd will be at 43.30. Expect some resistance there. All right, so that's what I'm watching right now, the 43.30. Resistance 43.30. That's what I'm watching. And I understand that we're super bullish now. Don't get me wrong, but we'll still find resistance though. We'll still find resistance. Ja. And let's look at silver for a second as well. Let's see where silver is at. Silver. Where's your resistance? Silver. Yeah, we still have that weekly supply zone here on silver. Not that far away. And some resistance as well. I do think that we have to at some point pull back, guys. I think that we still have to try to pull back on gold. There are too many things still not broken. Still too many areas. Also on silver, you can see it. The dollar is in that support already. The yield is still there. What about silver? Yeah, silver is still there. Has a lot of resistance above. What about the euro? Yeah, look at the euro. The euro is already flipping. You see that? Yeah, I'm watching this. I'm watching this level, definitely. If we can get there, that would be... definitely pay attention to this. 100%. Can we pull back a little bit? Something like that. Gold loves to fill the daily wicks. Yeah. Trump watching fighting in his backyard during the market open. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? What we're gonna do is we're gonna tweet that we have that peace deal agreement with Iran. Everything is good, and then I'm gonna watch some mixed martial arts in my backyard for the rest of the weekend and enjoy the weekend. A well-deserved weekend before or after the peace deal agreement with the UFC. Hey, listen, that's yeah, that's some serious timing. You cannot neglect that. That is absolutely some serious timing right there. You're completely correct. Look at that, by the way. Look at that reaction. It's unbelievable, actually, when you think about it. Look at that. Wow. Yeah. That is pretty interesting. Best relax song to concentrate. I usually when I want to concentrate, I don't put any music on like that. What I do is I go to this. Okay, let me just show you what I do if I want to actually concentrate on something, because it's actually much more. If you really want to concentrate, you don't want to listen to this shit. Okay, you want to listen to something more chill. So what you can do is you can go to Brain FM. You type in Brain FM right there, and you click on this one right there. Okay? You want to click on this one, the 30-minute focus, the green light, Brain FM music for maximum focus and concentration. That is what you actually want to listen to. Okay? Trust me, it's gonna put your brain on some sort of frequency wave. Some frequency wavelength, and then you know what I mean. You go from there. Much better, much better. Anyways, I'm working on a DJ set right now. I am working on a DJ set. Soon we will have a DJ set ready, recorded. So we're getting close. We're getting close. We're working hard. We're putting in the hours, okay? So we will have a full DJ set ready actually very soon. I'm working on an hourly set in my free time. Okay. Yeah, I think we're facing already a little bit of resistance soon. We will already definitely have support at, like, you know, we could easily already have that some support at least here. So I would also not be, you know, I would potentially also buy there if you could pull back there. But then I would buy lower. I would buy around here. If we haven't reached our resistance yet, let's say. So let's say we are now pulling back already and we haven't tapped into that 30 level, because this is where I think the major resistance will be. Then I'm still willing to buy here. Yeah. Yeah, so it depends what we do. Do we come up? Do we find that resistance here at the point of control of that swing? Oh, right there. Or will we already pull back earlier and still set in a third wave high, for example, right? A how do you call that? A new higher low. So higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Last wave high. So this is also another setup I would still be looking for, by the way, if you do something like that. I would then target, of course, the 30s. Pretty much. And then I put my stop loss at the yeah, 95. Yeah, something like that. Still 2-to-1. It's still worth taking. Yeah, it's still worth taking. So let's see if we can do that. Yeah. How does the valuation index work? Yeah, man. We're gonna actually turn this indicator into something nicer. I would love to, I'm gonna style it a little bit better in the future. But yeah, the way it works is actually as follows, okay? The indicator kind of measures the dollar, or measures gold in this case, against any symbol you want. But it has to make sense. So for example, you cannot measure gold against the euro really, because they're positively correlated. You can use it, but it's not as efficient as looking at the dollar or looking at the 10-year yield, for example, okay? Because there is a very clear negative correlation between the yields and between gold, because they're competing over that safe haven aspect, okay? Right now, whenever it's risk off, and we're living in like a risk off environment, it's always the dollar or the 10-year yield that people are interested in buying. Why? Because they provide a yield, they provide a dividend, a return, okay? On a consistent basis. So right now it's around what, 4.5% per year, let's say, right? Gold is a non-yielding asset. So by default, gold only goes up if other people believe it will go up. You will not make any money on it, but you have some sort of store value, right? But in this case, the dollar is king when it comes down to risk-off environment, okay? Now, coincide higher oil prices, higher inflation potential, higher interest rates as well, etc. More stronger dollar. So all of that leads towards the dollar and not towards gold, okay? So we like to look at dollar strength and dollar weakness, or yield strength, yield weakness, and put it against gold. So we can use this in an oscillator and then say, okay, if the yield go up, whatever, right? An X amount and gold drops an X amount, then you get an average. And that average means neutral. Okay, it's normal. They go up, they go down. You create an average. But at some point, if the average is not neutral, it's too extreme, then the market will at some point say, hey, listen, we're deviated so far. We're in like two extremes right now, too long. We have to pull back. The market has to balance it out, because the market is always trying to look for that balance in the end, okay? So it's like an elastic band. If you go to the gym and you train with that elastic band and you try to stretch it as far as possible, at some point it's so strong you can't stretch it any further, right? And then you let go and it snaps back. That's kind of how the valuation index works. So it's not like an RSI where it just measures gold only or one chart only. It actually measures both of those charts and then it creates an average. And then it shows you, for example, if you're overvalued or undervalued, things like that, right? So for example, here we were overvalued, right? And here we were undervalued. And here we were overvalued. And here we were undervalued. You see that? So if we would pull back right now, for example, whoop, then we would probably be undervalued, right? And we could see what we talk about a potential higher low, right? We could see something like this, right? That's something that I would love to see, for example, pullback for a higher low. But we also acknowledge that we have higher time frame resistance at the 43.30 as well. So we have to kind of wait and see what happens, right? But you want to preferably be in those extremes, right there, right there, right? Right here, you want to be in those extremes because these are the best opportunities. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of how the valuation index works. And I created like a whole thing about it as well. I explained everything about how it works in depth as well in the book. So it's also in the book. Everything that I talk about, by the way, is in the book pretty much, right? The volume profile, how I find these levels, etc. How you can find these levels too by understanding how it works, right? The point of control, why the point of control is so important. How you measure the swing high to the swing low. We did it at the beginning, right? We looked at the swing high and we looked at the swing low right here. And why we said this is so important now to watch, right? Everything that I pretty much talk about is in the book as well. So if you want to learn about that, you can just download this whole thing for free. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of data, okay? And yeah, it's a lot of examples. A lot of trading examples are in there as well. Playbook examples of how you use trends, how you use a lot of other data with this as well here, how you use the valuation, all these things. They're all in there. And yeah, the volume profile is, I think, one of the most important things for you to understand because, yeah, if you are a day trader or scalper, you really want to understand the volume profile. I think it's going to be a huge add-on. So you can download this one for free. It's no strings attached. You just go to, you click on the link and you sign up right there. And you get it in your email box, I think, within like 5 minutes. Let's quickly check the dollar again. Where we are with the dollar right now? Yeah, very similar, right? It's pretty similar. Pretty much the same, actually. Yep. It is pretty much the same. Yeah, what do you think is riskier, longing or shorting gold right now? I think that shorting gold is riskier right now. I think everyone is in a euphoric stage right now, and we're undervalued on the higher time frame. We're also backed up by higher time frame support. So it's not just the fundamentals that are screaming by, but it's also the technicals right now, right? But no matter what, every push up has pullbacks, has resistance that you have to deal with, and every push down has support as well. So the next resistance will still be here, and it will be a big level. So we're gonna watch this level very closely because if we see any weakness there, then I will still try to see if I could take a scalp to the downside. But I'm happy that gold is pushing back up. I like it. I like to see stronger gold. And I hope it will be able to eventually break the highs. I really hope so. I hope that we could potentially see something like, I don't know, a real breakout. A real breakout. But keep in mind, we're just going to find a lot of resistance very soon. But if you break it, if you can take this out right here, we take out this highs, then we have shifted potential structure right now. We will break out for the first time in a long time. And that's a very good sign. That's a good start for gold. All right. We still have 15 days left for the monthly candle. And we got bought up aggressively. And the monthly top candle has not really a top wick. Okay, we could try to fill that by the end of the month. Who knows? It's not that far away. What is the next level to buy from? The next level to buy from, in my opinion, is at the 43.05. Yeah, 43.05, and then maximum potentials, risky yourselves at the 43.30.
Bring the baseline back around again.
Why the 43.05? Because this is where the hourly supporters already is. We broke above this right now, right? Kind of here. And it's also the VWAP, the hourly VWAP. So you have the VWAP right here on the hourly time frame. You have a lot of support there. A lot of support there. Yeah. At the 43.05. And then, you know, 43.05 until like the 42.95, something like that. Yeah, something like that. And then this is where the big resistance will be, the 30s. Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking about shorting it from there, but it is a bit risky. But I'm willing to see if you can pull back from here a bit. Do you trade smart money concepts? No. Do you check the bookmap? I don't check the bookmap, not really, but I do have something similar here on this on the right. It's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. You see all the orders right there. See that? We have a huge order, by the way, sitting right there at the 4100. Huge order. Massive order. Massive order at the 4100. 4110, sorry. But of course, that's far, far, far away from here. So we don't have to think about that. Okay. We think we're going to see some resistance soon. So it might make sense what I'm saying right now, that we're going to find resistance at this level very shortly. Can we get there though? I hope well. I think we could. Walid, sir, I entered the Gmail, then they write to your book is on the way. Yes, correct. If you type in your email here, whatever, you type in your email here, it will give you, yeah, it will simply say that your book is on the way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I still think we're going to push higher, but I don't think I would not short from here. That's for sure. I would wait for price to reach the exact level. Yeah. It is a risky short, but it's actually it's gonna be a lot of resistance anyways. We know that already. It's gonna be a lot of resistance here. Onukan, have a good trading day, Lorenzo. And the chat. Yo, thanks, man. Thank you, brother. Yeah, you see? We'll still get there. Look at the dollar pushing up too. Right? So it's something that you have to watch. I think oil is just tanking right now. Look at oil. Look at oil. Oil is getting crushed at the moment. Yeah, oil too. Oil is also, we're not far from that support too on oil. But that's a huge drop. We're kind of waiting for this already, to be honest. Kind of marked out that resistance already on oil before. I literally said it last night. I said we're probably going to have an opening gap today. And man, we actually have. We actually had an opening gap. Yeah, we're already pretty much at support here. So okay, we're close. Yeah, we're close. Let's see if the 30 can hit, but it's a strong level. I think oil is very soon as well at that level. Looks so strong, right? Gold right now. Where do it needs to go? It needs to push maybe up to the 30s. We're not at the 30s yet. We're almost there. 30s is slightly higher. But I'm watching it closely. I want to see some sort of rejection around this zone pretty much. That's what I want to see. Some sort of rejection here. Okay, we are, I think we have arrived. So let's see what happens on the lower time frame. Let's watch gold closely on the order flow real quick. Okay. It's kind of what you want to see, that resistance here, to be honest. You kind of want to see something like that. At least some closure, some bearish closure or something like that. Yeah, you have these orders sitting there. You see that? 41, 51, 47, 47. Kind of stacked orders there. Paying a lot of attention to this. See how we react around here. Yeah, you see, we're already reacting from that level. Yeah, there we go. Let's see if you can actually close like that. That'll be very good. Do you trade spot or futures? I actually trade both, but usually futures now. So do take them in consideration. But we do have the spot chart open because people want to see the spot chart right now, right? Because 70, we did the poll and 71% of you guys trade spot, which is just crazy. A lot more people trade regular futures. All right, first closure is a good start, I would say. Let's see if we could find. We're just in that higher time of resistance. That's what we're watching very closely now here. But the market is is definitely bullish. So we're definitely fighting something here. Don't get me wrong. So be careful with risk. Any pullback though is longs immediately. If you can pull back to the 4305 longs. Yeah, these orders are there. They're not going away for now. Some risky shorts on a Monday. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of buying here. But if we close below this, I think I will enter short. Yeah. Just watch our level closely. And then trade it at least back towards the VWAP, which is at the 4,300, I guess. You don't watch UFC, I do, but I prefer to make money. And then we'll watch the UFC later on. What do you think? I think this makes more sense. Make or lose money, who cares? Prefer to make money and watch UFC later on. It's a bit more important right now. And the news around Iran, of course, is more important than the UFC, you know? Also that. Yeah. What I'm looking for right now, we know that we're in higher time for resistance, so that's not really a surprise that we react here a little bit. The question is there enough people? Are enough people willing to short now the market? Right, that's kind of the question, even for pullbacks, because of the bullish news, etc. So I might have to wait for the right confirmations, really, to try to scalp a setup here. And the only way I would say, if you can get a double rejection here and we see closure again below, then that's something that we want to see. So when I enter trade, I will probably enter it at the moment we will see another rejection. I do have to enter on futures though. Keep in mind, I have to enter right on futures on the left side of the screen, on the right side of the screen. Sorry. Let's see if we can flip bearish here. Okay, now we're not even having reached the 30s yet, by the way. The 30s are there now. So this is where they are, where the real resistance should be. Or where it should be, right here. But what I want to see is I want to break down and close below this. after pushing into this, and then I'll execute the trade on futures, which is on this chart right there. All right, that's the 30s. You see that? So now, if you can close below that, I will try to short it. Let's set up. Let's get ready in case it gets there. Lucas says, I think gold is still in the selling market. What I think personally is that gold is actually very strong today. Very strong, very bullish. Okay, so I would only wait for really good confirmations here. But regardless, if gold is bullish or whatever, you're gonna see moments in time when you reach major resistance. And this is one of those levels where we are right now. We are in that level. So we'll have to wait and see how it responds. You cannot buy here. I would never buy here, for example. I would only buy at any pullback, which is the 43.05. Let's also draw the lows. Maybe the 43.10 even. Maybe around here. Okay, depending on where we are. But like for the pullback, for the push higher. But also in order to get there, we need to pull back, right? We need to pull back. In order to buy, we need to pull back as well. Yeah, it's pretty much the rejection where we kind of expect a rejection there at the 30s, right? This one right there. Wait for the 43.75 liquidity sweep before shorting. 43.75 is really high. That is, now we have a lot more resistance there to deal with before that already. If you look at the 40.75, let's say all the way up there, which is like this area, right? You want to take out those highs and then you get into this resistance. This is why people were saying 75. You take out the highs first. You tap into the resistance and then you look for the retracement. I do agree that that also could be a level to watch, but it's very high. It's very high. We're just trying to see if we can get a little scalp here. That's it. Can we get into a little scalping setup? Tell us where to short. I always enter the trades live. So people always ask, are we in, are we in? I think I'm one of the only guys on YouTube that actually enters trades live. People pretend that they enter trades, but they don't. So I'm still looking for the confirmation here. This is just an indication right now. You will actually see my P&L and stuff, right, when I enter. Maybe for the new people, it's like unusual, but that's usually how it works. That's why I'm always very careful actually putting these things here, because people just assume that I enter. But the reality is you see me enter when I enter, and that is when I execute the trade on the TradingView platform. So you actually see my P&L. Gold entry suggests sell. So we're waiting for any type of selling confirmation, anything that shows us maybe that we could sell here. We looked at major resistance. I'm literally having my finger at the trigger to sell right now, to press the sell order. The only way to do that is by breaking structure, by seeing some weakness right now. We're still getting absorbed. So we still have not reached the confirmation yet. And for buys, I think we're just consistently pushing higher. So same for buys. We need to pull back or something. We need to show us a little bit of a pullback for longs. We know that the 30s are a serious resistance though, like we can kind of see this also right here. We're really watching this level closely because it's just such an important level. This level right here, so important. So important. It's very small. You don't really notice it, but it's a very important level. It's that red line. Do you actually have the trades? Yeah, well, of course. I think this is why you know me for. Like, I always execute live. You see my P&L. So, of course. Yeah, I know a lot of people, they put this there right here, right? And then sell, buys, and then they do something like this. But you never truly know if they enter the trade or not. I'm like, you never really know if they enter the trade. Like, you could say that they enter. You could say that you enter, but then other people say, yeah, does it really matter? Because it's just a signal, so who cares if he enters or not? I mean, up to you to decide that. What you prefer. But if I lose, you see me actually lose money. And if I win, you see me actually win money. So I don't know. I don't know what you prefer. Nah, it's just constant absorption right now. I wish we could break below this line. That's the annoying part, right? If gold is just ripping, like this was very nice right there, actually, right? The pullback. But now it's gold just ripping. If it's just ripping, then you need to see the pullback again. Especially because we're in that resistance here. Oh, let's go to the future chart. We're in that resistance here. And that's what we're watching now, right? We're watching this zone on the higher time frame. Right there, you see that? It's a major level, by the way. Major level. Major level. Right, we're seeing this error right now. Yeah, I love to see this, but in the end, yeah, we'll have a lot of resistance around here, regardless. If they're saying, you know, aim for the sweep, then it's true, but they have to wait all the way until you are there. Which is the 4396 for a pullback. So yeah, now this is a major zone. I would just pay attention to this zone. Okay. And this is where you are on the lower time frame. We're kind of respecting and we're kind of holding we're trying to tap into this. But the 5 minute still looks like it's just continuously putting in higher highs, higher lows. Like there's no sign of weakness from the 5 minutes, right? At all. No sellers are willing to step in here. So yeah. This is what the fundamentals are saying, like only buying, 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 and not selling. So you have to be you have to wait for really good confirmation on sells. Will it make sense? Let's see what the farm profile is selling us at the current day already. Yeah, not much. Yeah, anyways, it's a good sign for gold that it's doing it, but now we are not at that zone. So man, that's so freaking bullish. Let's look at the 15 minute. Yeah, I do think also that we're gonna make a pullback. I do think that we have to. Any pullback, guys? Oh my god. I mean, we could easily already start pulling back very soon already. But if we pull back, yeah, there we go, you see? That's our next level. Lucas says, guys, don't buy. It's a trap. I would not call this a trap. Because it's actually pretty technically very strong. On the higher time frame as well. But we are in resistance. We are absolutely in resistance now, that's for sure. We have reached that major zone that we've been waiting for. And you're gonna see at least a reaction from here. At least that's what you expect to see. A reaction from here, right? That's what we're expecting to see. But hey, in this environment, anything's possible. So let's just watch the orders very closely and see for ourselves. Honestly, if you look at it from this perspective already, we could easily already find support here. It's just moving up higher and higher and higher. Yeah, it keeps rejecting though. Buy now for a breakout? No, I think the buys right now are not nice, not solid enough. Because you're literally in higher time for resistance right now at the moment, right? So any buys was pretty much when the market opened. When you maybe pull back or broke above here. But like right now it's a bit too, it's definitely too late for buys. For good buys, I would say. So we're trying to see if like sellers are willing to step in here in a bullish market. If sellers are trying to step in now, at least trying to give that pullback or fighting back a little bit. We're not really seeing this at the moment yet, right? Not much at least. We're seeing a little bit of a absorption, but we don't see any dominance from sellers here at all. Yeah, the interesting part is we do have like a large order sitting below here. You see that? There are like pretty much like a lot of smaller orders. And then you have that huge large order sitting right here. And that is at the 42.87 on futures. That's the... So that's pretty much back at this lows there. It's like a huge order. But it's not in comparison. It's still doesn't make sense that we have to pull back all the way. We have just too much support in between those levels already. I can already see that sellers are stuck here. We might find support already here. Would you buy at the 15? I think I would. I think I would buy here. Yeah. So like pretty much it's not really a question of like, do I want to buy at any pullback? I do want to buy at any pullback. The question is more, is it wise to sell towards it? That is the question. Is it wise to try to sell towards the pullback? Towards these levels, right? Towards these zones. We have one here, we had one major there, and now here. So we have these levels here. For now, it's just continually pushing higher. Even though we're in this resistance, so pay attention to this area. But there's just no sign of weakness right now. So at some point, I think we will make a pullback. What platform is your chart on the right? It's the exit chart. It's called the exit chart. It shows you the exact orders in the market. So it's not just about... so you have market orders here. Right? These are all the market orders. And these are all the limit orders. Pretty much. So limit orders, market orders. Yes, market orders and limit orders. So what do you see, for example, is that a lot of sellers try to step in here, but they're failing. They're now like underwater pretty much. So they tried, but they failed for now. What I like the best buys, I would say the best buys would be, there are a couple of levels here. Okay, let's clean it all up. Let's just mark out the swing right now, right? What you can already see is that we have a huge area, which is this zone right here. I was watching the zone already very closely. To me, this is going to be a major area right here where I would already look for buys, right? Regardless, if price would ever get back there, would look for buys. That's already one level to watch, in my opinion. Now the other level is, I think, somewhere around. You could say, I think it's the volume profile from here. I think around this zone. Yeah, so it's pretty much the very high, and this gap. So I would say the very high is around here, pretty much. Right, and then the question is, then this is the real question, because if you pull back, okay, we have these two levels. We have zone A, and we have zone, let's say zone B, right? These are like two levels which I think are very cool, very interesting levels to look for. The question though right now is like, okay, is there a way to say, okay, maybe because we're in higher time for resistance, it's better to wait for the pullback there, right? Instead of this one. Because we're in the 4-hour resistance right now. You see that? We are literally there. And I think the open of the candle was at the 16, I think. And that's exactly there. That's the open of the 4 hour as well. So it makes sense that if you would go there, that this is the best area to buy. The question now is going to be, okay, but if that's the case and you know that you're in higher time for resistance, is it then worth to short it? Let's say towards this area. And that's kind of the problem we're facing here. Like, is it worth doing that? Or is it better to just wait for price? Because we're in higher time for resistance, is it better to just wait for price to give us any pullback? To just trade the trend right now and forget about shorting at all today. That's kind of the dubio here. Because no matter in a bullish market, if you're in resistance, you're in resistance and you're going to react from it. And we are reacting from it. And sometimes it reacts a little bit and it comes up again immediately. But even that reaction, right from here to here, is like 200 pips, for example. You know, that's like a 200 pip move or whatever the case may be, right? Yeah. Yeah, so this is the first time that you can actually see that we're really trying to hold on to it. But you will see in a second, we'll already find that support at, I think, this level here. So we're not even that far away from it already. Somewhere around there. We just saw with the very high, right? We saw that before. Right here, yeah. As long as we have no news by Trump, I don't think so, because Trump is watching the UFC right now. Trump is watching the UFC, so he's not worried about gold right now. And he just signed a peace deal agreement, apparently. So I don't think that he is worried right now. He's chilling. Trump is chilling from here. Yeah. The Vine profile is free. Yeah, the Vine profile is free. The Vine profile is free. Yeah, okay, here we go, right? We have that resistance now. I personally think that this is a bit too risky for buys, because the fact that we will have that 4-hour resistance right now here, and even if this candle flips bearish, then you will probably see the same thing happening here. And look at that red zone that we marked out. We marked out this zone, you see? This is like a red zone that we marked out right here, with all those orders, all those sellers that stepped in here. We can mark it down. We make a whole red line. We're going to make this red line even stronger. So we're going to put it like this. Okay, that's the 4-hour resistance here. But on the 1 hour, it's kind of, it looks like this. So we put that red line, we put it back to the current price. And this is where you are. So this is where we kind of are reacting from. Now, the 15 minute, it looks like this. So you can see that there are now sellers stepping in. But we're not breaking any structure yet. Right? And we have support right here. We have support right there. So now it seems that selling is just a bit too risky. Even though, because we broke above our level 2, right? The 30 we said. No, actually not. We're actually around the 30. There's just so much support below. Where are you now? I'm in Bali right now. Yeah, okay, the 30 is reacting. We kind of marked out the 30 beforehand. So we are reacting there from right now. That's kind of not unexpected, because the higher time frame resistance aligns with where we are. It will be very risky sells. I'm not going to lie. It will be risky sells. But it could definitely pull back and give us a pushback down to the you know, to the 12 area, the 15 area, things like that. Either the 15 or even maybe even the you know, the 10, 11, all the way down. Now for buys, the dream buy scenario would be, in my opinion, it will be here. All right, that will be absolutely there. That would be like the dream buy, right? If you could pull back there. But that's like the, then it has to pull back first. So yeah, we need to take this 4-hour resistance seriously, I think. Yeah. This is gold futures. So in case you're wondering what you're seeing here, this is the gold futures chart. And this is the resistance that we're in right now. And this 4-hour candle is now here. It's trying to break the 4-hour resistance, let's say, right? And this is why we're struggling here now on gold on the lower time frame. Because we know why this is an important level. But it's just pulling back with like almost no firepower. Firepower, sorry. Almost no firepower. Yeah. AI prompt says, obviously there is no power at the end of an hour. Lol, simple stuff. That is the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard in my life. The amount of volume that can come at the end of an hour I've seen is insane sometimes. It's crazy. The amount of volume, the amount of trade volume that come in the last 30 seconds of an hourly candle is insane. I've seen the hourly candle closure in the last minute going from 1,000 or 5,000 contracts to like 8,000 contracts in a minute. But yeah, that 4-hour resistance is real. We are now starting to actually close below this. There we go. The 30s are reacting. Finally, it took some time, but we are reacting. Do you win a lot? Never. All right. All right, 4 hour is reacting finally. Took some time, but we're there. Love it. The pullback is gonna come soon. Would you buy here? I would definitely buy there. Would I sell now? The reaction is finally coming, which is good. Eventually, the 30s held. A 4 hour resistance clearly holding. The 8 hour same zone. So the 8 hour, the 4 hour. Would you look to fill the complete gap? Not necessarily the gap. Actually, doesn't have to get back to the gap. Doesn't have to get back to the gap. It could easily pull back towards this area right here. Yeah, it's beautiful to see that these zones are holding up. The 4 hours reacting, the 1 hour is reacting from it. So I was not really surprised that we're seeing eventually that reaction here. But we're gonna find already a strong support very, very soon, and then we'll be trading kind of with the trend. And the next level is already here. So we're not even that far away from it. So watch what happens already very soon. Very soon. So yeah, are we seeing a reaction from it now? Okay. Yeah, I still think that right now we'll see some sort of reaction from there. Oh, that's why we're reacting like that. The dollar is not even giving us the indication. Let's go back to the 100. Yes, okay. Yeah, that's gonna already help tremendously here. Some nerd in the chat. Why do you want to buy? Because we kind of expected some sellers coming in right now. That's not really the issue here. The main question for me was it wise to trade the pullback already? That would have been kind of aggressive. because we were definitely going against our bias right now, which is bullish, right? The market has been shifting. We talked about the higher time frame, etc. So we've been watching this resistance very closely and set around the 30s, where we might see the resistance coming. We're seeing this happening right now. So now the question for me is going to be, okay, if this is like the pullback right now, right? What is the best level to buy from? And is that lower, or is that maybe at this area right now that we marked out? I'm mainly looking at this area that we marked out beforehand. I think that's more than enough of a pullback that we were looking for. And actually, to be honest, I think we already will find support very soon. So I think this is just going to be like a minor type of pullback. We have some trapped sellers sitting there as well. We closed above this aggressively, so we do expect already a reaction here. Yeah, right now, pretty much. Right now, around this level. I'm going to set at least an entry already around this area. Yeah, right here. We might actually literally, guys, just continue to push up higher from here. Just a small pullback right now. I really prefer to see if we could pull back towards this area. I will set some buy limits already there in case we get there. It's pretty much, I think it was around this area right here. I'm gonna do this right now. The future chart will always give us a little bit of a different interpretation anyways. Yeah, pretty much the low volume was traded around here, so probably gonna set the buy limit already. In case we get there. Yeah, buy limit set for sure here already. In case we get there, set at 31.4. How much is that? 34, 45, 31.4. So I think that's 11, 43.11. Yeah. I know we have a higher time for resistance, but I think by default that will be enough of a pullback already. Lorenzo, remember what I said about the other day about the 50% pullback between the high and low of the Asian session last week? 50% pullback high and low in the Asian session. I think I heard something like that, yeah, before. I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. I do remember that exactly. You're right. Why do I like this? I like this area because I think this is exactly where we will see the 4-hour candle flip bearish. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's going to induce a lot of people to enter shorts. and then we can flip again. I think a lot of shorts will get activated. A lot of people will start shorting. Maybe a lot of sell stops get activated at the flip of the 4 hour. The 4 hour flip, and that these sell stops could get absorbed. So I like this area for buys, really. I really like this level, the 43.11. Why the 4 hour 11? Because it aligns perfectly with the VWAP too. And huge volume in this candle. In comparison, traded with a really strong delta as well. So it's like the perfect combination of where buyers stepped in aggressively too. So it's like this whole zone. And I've been watching that level already for a while. And it aligns perfectly with what I was looking for right around this area too. So it seems to be aligning very well with what I was looking for. But it could easily already hold here because we're so freaking bullish. And any shorts is short-term pleasure, I think. Just a quick scalp. If you want a short, it's like an in and out type of play, like aggressive entry and hold, and then just when you see profits, just boom, take profits because the market is bullish. Yeah. So yeah, so like I said before, on the higher time frame, we need to see pullbacks. This is one of those pullbacks. Because we're in a higher time for resistance, but that doesn't mean that sellers are back in the game or control here. Because it just looks like a short-term reaction. Also here, right? We tapped into the zone and we just continue to fly again, so. Yeah, I hope you understand why we were very cautious with shorting here, because like, even though it reacted from it, it took number one a very long time before we started to actually push down. And then once we started to kind of push down, it immediately got bought up again. So we are paying attention to what happens here right now and how we're reacting, etc. But yeah, it seems very risky. I think the trend knows exactly what it wants to do, and that is to, since the lows actually were set right here, we broke out. You know, we're consistently seeing the push higher. I also think a lot of sellers are still in that disbelief, by the way, because they're so used to selling now that they're like in disbelief almost of like, oh wait, gold can also be bullish. Yes, gold can also be bullish, my friend. It can also be very freaking bullish. Who is that behind? That's my stuff. You never see them because I'm only trading New York session, but It is right now 11 a.m. right here. 11 a.m. in the morning. So it's different vibes, the Asian session vibes. Smith says Trump fell asleep for the third time so far. I mean, you know, how old is Trump? I think he is... 80 years old. I mean, come on, man. 80 years old. And that guy is working harder than most of us. We might not always like what he thinks or what he says or how he acts, but you cannot deny that he's not a hard worker, that's for sure. I guess. On his age, 80 years old, that's very impressive. So yeah, very impressive. Oh, today, it's his birthday. Okay, there we go. So no rage beta tweets on his birthday today. Okay. I don't understand how people can still be bearish about gold. The higher time frame narrative has shifted. Gold doesn't have any more sell side liquidity. I think that's what it means, right? SSL, sell side liquidity, to target. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this so many times already, man. So many freaking times we talked about how these lows were so important and how that undervaluation is so critical. Every time when we reach it, we tend to formulate bottoms, right? So any higher low, any pullback right now is going to be one of the best opportunities to buy, in my opinion. Any pullback, any larger pullback is going to be one of the better opportunities to buy gold and hold it and see where it takes you. Because yes, we might not completely pull back all the way back up, but we'll probably see a little bit of a retracement towards the 4,600. That's something that we were thinking about, of course. But hey. We still need to see higher lows. Why do you want to buy there? We were looking for this pullback already. We kind of expected a pullback soon. So that is one layer. I'm like, man, do I want to short it back down? This is like, this keeps coming back into my mind. Like, do I want to short it back down? Do I want to short it towards the zone if I think it's going to go down there? But yeah, I think that we are going to see a strong reaction around the VWAP. it could definitely be that we're holding that level for a while. We will for sure be undervalued at the 43.11 if we get there. For sure. We'll see a reaction. Especially if you're undervalued in this news right now, yes. And I think that's the 4-hour flip. So that's actually the ideal case scenario, is that we see the 4-hour flip. So we have this zone, then we have another zone below, which is a little bit lower. At the 4,300. Yeah, the 4,300 pretty much. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the gap. The thing with gaps is that it doesn't always have to be filled, you know? Like, it's not always mandatory that these gaps get filled. So I don't want to like wait for the gap fill to then look for longs, for example. Yeah, we're gonna see some volume coming in anytime soon as well. Circus says, I'm hoping for gold to take out the previous Tuesday highs. Previous Tuesday highs, where are they sitting at? I think they are at... Yeah, eventually, you mean? That's pretty strong resistance though. Yeah, because we talked about the volume profile, we talked about the point of control. And that is actually right there. And you can see how we are right now getting rejected at the point of control, right? The 30 on gold spot. But how we could get and find support immediately around this area right here already. So let's see if we can get there as well. The ES is non-stop to the upside. Yeah, but this has been the case for the last months already, regardless of the news. Yeah, it is crazy, right? But yeah, it's true. Look at the Nasdaq as well, gapped open too. We have major zone there on the Nas already. So it's good to see the Nasdaq pumping again. Makes sense as well. SpaceX as well launched pretty good. It closed higher than the open. It's a good start. Let's see how far that will take us. I think sellers are not able to sell with more than a 30% premium in the first 6 months, I believe. So I don't think the selling pressure will be too aggressive yet. But a lot of people decided to sell at the 75, so that might still be the resistance for a while. Let's see. Why is it struggling here? It's struggling here because there's another level in between that. But I think that level is a bit too tight. Because the higher time frame resistance. But yeah, you can see all those sellers are already trying. They're trying and failing. So I do want to see us getting a little bit lower, but yeah, it's holding up really well. And Tuesday highs, I don't know where Tuesday highs are. I think it's above the highs right here. I think these are the Tuesday highs, correct? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay. Previous weekly highs are sitting right there, correct? On the 15-minute. These are the previous weekly highs, correct? Yes, the previous weekly highs are there. Yeah, so what I'm looking for actually is more from a perspective of where do I believe the most sellers will actually step in aggressively. And I think that will be when the 4-hour candle flips bearish. So for example, this 4-hour candle right now will close in 2 hours and 26 minutes. So let's say this candle flips bearish. I think that's when a lot of people are short. A lot more people starting to get in the market short. And that's when I want to buy, pretty much, if that makes sense. So I want to buy when I feel that most people will enter shorts. And I see that happening when this 4-hour candle will flip bearish. And then we could see that impulse and then the absorption. And that's where I want to be in against the trend, pretty much, or with the current trend in that resistance. So if I want to trade into that resistance, then I want to see and enter buys at levels where I think more sellers will enter. And that's sitting, in my opinion, around here, around 43.11 on yeah, gold spot. Yes, we're working on some music. But only in my free time, pretty much. We're playing around. We're doing some sets. doing a bit of mixing. And then throughout the week, it's usually straight up finance and routine. What is the difference between futures and the other one? It's around 20 points, right? So 22 points, I think. 21. So the futures price right now is 43.7. 43.47, sorry. And the spot price is 43.26. So it's 21 point difference. Yeah. The pullback is actually not that far. Like it looks like it's really, really big, but it's actually not that bad. Not necessarily. Definitely gonna keep this open for sure. I thought gold will drop to 39. A lot of people are still talking about the $3,500 gold, by the way. A lot of people are still talking about gold all the way coming down to the 3,500. And I saw something like a guy doing this analysis right here. Let me see if I can show you. This guy was doing this weekly time frame, daily time frame. And I think he was just using like this as his main level, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, it's totally possible that this is just a pullback for a push down. Who knows? I'm not saying never say never, right? Never ever say never. But like the idea was pretty much as follows. He just simply did this, I guess. It was just a parallel channel that he drew from the top right there. Okay, let me see if I can show you right now. So he drew it from here to here. Parallel channel from the top. And then you mark it down to the bottom. It's almost like a perfect channel though. Like it's actually perfect if you really think about it from that perspective. It is true. It is true. But like right there, you would squeeze this out. You can see that gold's right now in a downtrend, right? We're pretty much since the top right there. We're kind of right now squeezing into this downtrend right here. And it's actually the perfect channel. if you ask me. 100%. Because it aligns very cleanly, right, with gold right now at the moment at least. So you're in that kind of bearish, I could actually make it better like this. We're kind of in this bearish trend right now at the moment. And what you can see here is that we pretty much were looking then at, or they were looking at, this guy was looking at this range. Pretty much where we started our trend from, right? End of August, beginning of September. Having these multiple touch points sitting, for example, right here. Right there, that was the high, then the higher low, the lower low. That was the major liquidation event. Couldn't break the highs. We tapped into that supply zone right here. We sold off. We tapped and created the new low, right? And now we actually swept the lows again. So it makes sense that we're seeing a little bit of a reaction to the upside. But the overall idea was that this was just going to be a push up temporarily for like a larger squeeze down. Okay. And this is all speculation. Don't get me wrong. This is all speculation. For like, you know, the largest squeeze down for like that final consolidation and then the breakout, right? So the good part is that usually these type of channels that you see here are usually bullish patterns in the long term. Okay. They're actually just accumulation channels, you could say that, or distribution channels that are actually utilized to accumulate gold. And there are a lot of signs backed up by the fact that there is actually a big chance that gold is just getting heavily accumulated right now. And that large central banks are still buying, which is true. Central banks are still buying gold on a regular basis. So that is kind of the short-term bottom. Now that we've taken out those lows for the push up, the bigger sell-off, and then the final reaction around the 3,500 for the breakout back up again, right? Something like that. I mean, this is all speculation, so don't get me wrong here, but this is just what from a technical perspective, if you would look at it this way on the higher time frame, could totally make sense, right? That you see one more squeeze down, that it will try to squeeze up, and then it breaks, and then we'll see the final breakout happening at the end of the year or in Q4 of 2026, which is the end of the year, where usually you'll see gold being generally speaking, being more bullish by default. Okay, the summer is usually always an accumulation period right around there. So you have these two highs, these two lows, you create the channel, it pushes down towards this initial response, the start of the overall trend, the retest of this, then the breakout, and then that continuation for larger, for the next big wave, pretty much, for gold back up. So I think that we are now in that period where we could confidently potentially say, this is the pullback period. The pullback period right now, where now that we've taken out the lows, we'll try to push up higher. We'll get into major resistance again, and we'll maybe see the resistance coming into fruition around, you know, the 4,500, 4,600, all the way maybe to the 4,700. And then in the 4,700, we'll find that resistance. That's when gold, that's when you have to pay very, very close attention to how gold moves. Okay. So pretty much around, you could almost say, and this is just basic technicals, right? This area, basic macros, into this area right here, right? That you kind of look for gold. You look for the push into, why does it react this way? Oh, there we go. Then it kind of reacts into this area. We'll find resistance and we sell off and we get to our final point of interest, which is the origin of that reaction. And then, the major resistance, and then the accumulation, and then whoop, breakout, retest, go. Right there. Right? In my opinion, I mean, it kind of makes sense. It makes sense to me, but there are so many other factors that we have to take in consideration as well. We cannot just rely on these technicals and say, this is what's going to happen, because there are too many fundamental, too many different fundamental reasons why this could not come to fruition, for example, right? From like a war standpoint, interest rates, what Trump wants to do, what Kevin Warsh wants to do, inflation data, things like that. But from a technical perspective, you would say, regardless, I would pay extra attention to that high. And I would pay extra attention right now to the lows. So the fact that we're bullish now is not really necessarily a surprise, I would say, in the short term. I hope that makes sense. So yeah, interesting stuff, definitely. Yeah. I see the channel with no analysis, so every person sees it too. It's meaning it's too easy. Yeah, the funny thing is that you might think that everyone sees it this way, but actually a lot of people don't see it like that. They don't look at a higher time frame like that, for example. They simply look at the lower time frame and they don't really think about the higher time frame too much, or they don't really look at these channels too much. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense when you see it, right? But it's not that every person thinks the same about this and actually write this exactly down this way. Because you will be surprised that a lot of people have different opinions. But yeah, we're definitely more in a bullish environment now that we're a bit undervalued. So let's just focus on this and let's see if we can, if eventually price is willing to get back up there. And regardless, the lows now are taken out from March. And we're seeing a really strong bullish reaction from this. We're also seeing a lot of the new demand getting formed and created. And these are all pretty strong signs right now, right? This is one of them. This is, of course, one of them. So we have these two major buying zones already on the higher time frame as well. But we're just sitting on the 5 minute right now. I still look at the dollar. Yeah, we talked about the dollar as well. The difficult thing about the dollar now is the fact that the dollar has been dropping, but we're still above that major support. We're still above that range. You see that? The dollar is still here. Look at that. The dollar is still there. Okay? And as long as the dollar is there, there is still support on the higher time frame. But it's not necessarily the dollar that you need to focus on. I think the yield is much more important now. The kill pattern for this month, I'm seeing 4.5k to 5k. I think that might be correct. We still have around, what, 10 minutes left? Yeah. We still have around 10 minutes left. Do you like the 8 session? I do like the 8 sessions. Yes, definitely. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah, because I can set my trades. Sometimes, you know, we get into pretty good trades overall. Other times I just set my limit orders. And also that's the beautiful thing about Asia. You have we still have a whole day ahead of us right now. For example, we have London opening up and then New York. So there's a lot of, you can definitely in Asia see already some really clear structure. You can see really how levels develop and how and where the entries can be placed as well in like the worst case scenario. So I like to see this. I like Asia for that reason. You can look at the market, you can see how it opened the day, and then usually you can already get a good understanding of where the best possible buys or sells are for the rest of the day. Even if it doesn't play out in Asia, you still have the levels. So I like this. Yeah. Why we're supported? We're already supported because of this reason. What is the Ace session saying, by the way? Huge candle. Interesting enough, it actually is like the 50 retracement indeed, like this guy was talking about, of the Ace session right now. But that's pure coincidence, I think. But like, yeah, I do see it. 50% of that retracement. Yo, bro, I'm really struggling with my psychology. What can I do about this? There are so many things that you can fix. Number one, is it that you should ask yourself the question, I think, number one. Is it really your psychology? That's the first question to ask. Because a lot of people say that it's their psychology, but then it's actually not their psychology because I always like how Umar Ashraf says it also, right? You probably have most people don't have a psychology problem, they have a skill problem or a skill gap. I'm like, bro, yeah, damn, that is correct. That's actually completely what I fully 100% align with. I think that it comes also from like a lack of confidence in your system or not even having a system, not even having a process. And then it's very easy to just say, oh, you know what, my trade goes wrong because of my psychology, but maybe you don't have clear guidelines, clear rules for your entries, your entry criteria. Maybe you're not a patient trader. Maybe you FOMO in and you make a mistake. Is that because you FOMO in? Is that then your psychology? Or maybe you FOMO in because you have a skill problem, like a lack of patience because you don't have a system, you don't have a strategy, and you just enter a trade at the moment in an impulse, in an emotional state, whatever the case may be, right? So ask yourself the question first, is it truly a psychological problem, yes or no? Or is it a skill gap? If you think, yes, I have a process, but I can't follow my process clearly because of X and Y, and I close my trades too early, or when I'm in drawdown, I keep my trades open, then we have a different conversation. Because that's a true issue that a lot of people are kind of struggling with, right? And I think it still all comes down to having a very mechanical process at the beginning and to really automate as much as possible, just to be super data driven, super mechanical. And then after that, you start to get more intuitive with the market. You start to go more into flow because you start to recognize and see patterns that you've seen before. Right? You build that intuition. But that skill gap is number one. Okay, that's the first thing that you should think about. Do I even have a process? Do I even follow a system? Right? Do I even know what my trade was 5 trades ago? Do I even know what my trade was? Or did I already forgot the 5th trade? If I ask you right now, what was the trade you took on a Wednesday last week? Do you know the answer? Or did you forget? Right? Did you write it down? Things like that. If you can't say, I took this trade for this reason, I felt this way because of X and Y, I took it at this level because of this reason, this was there, this is why I took a long, or this is why I took a sell. Then you're good. Then you're good to go. Right now, I'm in a state on gold where I'm like, you know what? If I can't find a good setup now, then I just set up my levels. I mark my levels and I set my buy limits, or I wait for price to go there and I set an alert. And then I look at it. If I'm not comfortable, if I'm not like 100% sure, I just set a alert at that level. And then I wait for price to get there. Sometimes it's very close. Sometimes it's like 50 pips away. Sometimes it's 200 pips, 500 pips away. But at least I set my levels and I'm like, okay, if price gets there, then I want to see what price does there. I want to see how price responds there. Or I'm very comfortable with already entering there. So I'm going to set a limit order there. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Completely fine. Then I'm just going to wait and I'm going to look for the next level, right? If you create new structure, I'm just going to look for the next level and I do it again. And at some point it gets there, right? And I see exactly, okay, it's worth entering. It's not worth entering. Okay, but I don't have the feeling every time that I'm in the market, I'm like, okay, now, what should I do now at this moment, right now? Because maybe there is nothing really in our favor at the moment. And maybe it's better to wait for price to come to specific levels and say, you know what, when price is there, I'm going to see how price responds when it's there, right? So I hope that answers your question, my friend. I think your psychology is definitely a problem if you have a clear process and you can't seem to close your trades in losses when in drawdown. But you have a very easy moment with closing trades when you're in profit because you quickly want to get these profits out, but you don't let your trades run when you're supposed to let them run, but you don't close your trades when you're supposed to close your trades. That's one of the biggest issues I've seen, and also something that I have a lot of issues with in the past as well, is that I can't close my trades. I can't seem to close my trades. That was an issue that I had. And the way I was dealing with it myself was pretty much having so much pain, getting liquidated for no freaking reason, that you're so sick and tired of it that you realize that you have to change something because something otherwise never will change. And closing trades too early, all right, is an issue, but closing trades or don't close trades because you're in drawdown, because you just cannot accept a loss, that's difficult for many people, right? You're in drawdown, and it's even worse when you were in profit and then you go to drawdown and then you cannot close your trade. Because you were in profit, you saw the blue, and then you're like, wow, and you're used to it, and then it goes back in drawdown, and now you're like, it's gonna go back to blue, it's gonna go back to blue, and then it never gets there, and then it dumps, and now you're stuck in the trade which was originally in profit. And now you're like, okay, it's gonna pull back, and your trade turns from a clear system, a clear strategy, to hopium, to the universe. Maybe the universe will give me that pullback. Please, universe, give me that pullback, give me that retracement. And guess what happens? It never gets back there. And that's the worst position to be in. So you need to avoid these situations all the time. You need to have a process. You need to be able to accept losses. You need to be able to have a clear process. You need rules. You need rules for your trading. And you need to follow those rules. Because we don't let the universe decide how your trading journey will end. Bro, he sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Please say get to the chopper. I'm Dutch, okay? I'm not German. I'm not Austrian. Sorry. So I will try my best, but I will not be able to do this properly. It will be a disgrace. Yeah. This end of warnings is too big, too short. Yeah, I kind of agree. It's tough. It's a tough one. It's a tough one to short it. It's a tough one to short it. Even though it could pull back. And like, yeah, I want it to pull back. Clearly, right? Still tough one to short it. What are your favorite sessions to trade, my friends? Let me know in the chat. Favorite session to trade. Let's see if people are going to say, if the majority is going to say New York. London even, wow. Hey bro, I've started 6 months ago trading and now I have a 50k CFD funded account and I withdrew 2 payouts from them of $1,500. And I still get temptation while entering. Any suggestions? Well, it's good that you take profits immediately, that you take our payouts. Congratulations. Always amazing to have your first, second payout. I think it's awesome. So keep learning, man. You're just at the beginning stages, I guess. And if you're already funded and you're making money now, so take as much out of the market as you can. And gain that experience and just keep doing what you're doing until things go wrong. And then you start to see why are things going wrong now. And then you start to learn again. You get into the new phase, the second phase, the learning phase again. A lot of Asia too, though. A lot of Asia in the chat. Wow. A lot of London as well, man. Wow. I didn't expect that, actually. I didn't expect people to say London session. Really? Okay. Do you play chess very often? If yes, what is your rating? I've been stuck at 1400 for a long time. So I don't think that's super good. I don't think that's bad either. It's not bad, but it's not like amazing. So I don't know. I really have to. This is the point where I'm like, you know, this is like my how do you say that? My resistance. I really have to study much deeper and spend much more time getting better to become better, to improve this. But I've been stuck here for a while. Do you compare the moving gold with silver? Yeah, I do look at silver too, to see where silver is at. Definitely. Absolutely. We're just keeping a close eye on many layers. Silver, oil, dollar, etc., etc. But right now, our futures on the right side of the chart and then the spot chart on the left side. What do you think of Netherlands, Japan? What do you think of the outcome? I saw it. It was 2-2, right? I think the Netherlands should have won that. That's my personal opinion. I think the Netherlands should have won that game. Easy. Right? I think they dominated pretty much in every way. But yeah, it was what, 2-2, right? So yeah. Yeah, all the Indians, man, are killing it in chess. I know, man. I know. Indians are taking over the chess game right now. Yes. Yeah, do you guys think we'll get there in the session here? I think I have to leave very soon already. I hope we do get back down towards this zone. It will be a major level, by the way. It's actually 50% of that Asian session retracement. Indeed, I agree. But it's not because of that. It's because of this, the very high and the low volume node that I'm watching there. So it's actually a little bit of a different reason. But, you know, I always can see why things are aligning. And why it's important to look at it from that perspective as well. But I can see definitely a lot of interest at this... at this area in the first place. I really look closely at these levels as well. And I do see how this could turn into support. So we have to watch this very closely. Yeah. That's what I'm saying, right? If the move already happened, let's say post-stream or when the stream starts and the move already happened, then the question is, do I really want to go short now against it? So I start streaming, the move already happened, and then do I really want to go short? Not really, because we're so bullish, right? We're super bullish. So the only logical trade is a retracement setup, so a pullback for continuation play, and that's for me around there. Okay, that's why I've set a buy limit at 4331 on my futures chart, which is I think 4311, 43. Yeah, It's probably 43.11 or 43.10. I don't know exactly what the level on the spot is, but it's probably around 43.11, 43.10. Because there is now, roughly speaking, a 20 to 21 point difference between futures price and the spot price. Yeah. So if, let's say, the stream starts, right, and we have the move, then I could potentially, I could have entered immediately either at the beginning of the stream, I guess. But in this case, the move already kind of happened when I started streaming. So then I'm pretty much stuck. Like, I have to either decide to short here, which was, in my opinion, very risky, or wait for the pullback here and then look for longs, which makes more sense. But then the market has to get there, right? The market has to get there. So yeah, I think these are the levels I think that we have to watch for today, guys. I think the 43.11 is a super important level that I recommend you to watch, and it comes down all the way. It's not just a level, it's a zone. It's 43.11 down to like 43.05. Okay, 43.05 actually. Right there, I have my stop loss below that. That's kind of the zone that I would watch very closely for gold right now at the moment. Okay, if you can get there, then that's exactly where I'm looking to enter long, to see if you could look for the continuation down. And then it can give you also the opportunity, let's say price pushes up again, it gives you the opportunity as well to see what happens at that resistance. And I think it's worth taking profits there, but not close the position in full. So taking partials around there. I also don't think that you should take partials immediately in the middle. I don't think that is something that I would do. I think there is much more upside potential still. But that's something I will be looking for too, is not taking partials too quickly. I would put my stop loss on break even, but I would not take partials maybe. And if price does come down, let's say you price comes up, you put your stop loss on break even, price hits your break even, right? It hits your break even and it eventually comes down. Yeah, then you have to think about, you have to look at it level by level, right? Level by level by level. And I think the next level is, I marked it out as well. That was already the 4,300. Yeah, the 4,300, right? 40T, I think it's 4390. The 4275 is one level, and the 4290 as well is another level. 4275, 4290. But the first level is the 4311. I think that is by far, in my opinion, the most logical level to watch. It's actually 50% of that Asian session retracement. It's also the previous high. It's the break. It's the retest of the breakout, actually, if you look at it very simple terms. It's the retest of the breakout as well. But from a volume profile standpoint, I like this low volume node the most. And that is just a low amount of volume transacted there. There is a gap, an imbalance in there as well that people call a fair value gap. But I call it just a low volume node. You can kind of see here a lot of less orders transacted in this overall swinger. You see that? So you have like high volume, right? Low volume, high volume, and then low volume. That is that volume that I'd look to enter along it. Okay. Now, if you put your entry around there or inside of that zone, you want to put your stop loss below the zone where there is more volume in the next gap below, right? So you have that area right there. So we want to actually pretty much look at that level below, and that's where I would put my stop loss. But I hope that makes sense for future setups right there. Hopefully we get down there, because looking for longs now will be very risky, in my opinion, as well here. Right? I would look at gold. I'm looking at gold right now. And if you go to the 4-hour time frame or the 8-hour time frame, you can just simply see now that if you look for longs now, keep in mind that you're entering inside of this area. Okay? Inside of this high right now. And by default, you can just see how important this resistance is at the moment. So while this is the main reason why I was thinking that if this 4-hour candle can flip bearish and can react on that resistance, then a lot of people will try to short it. Let's say we break it. A lot of people will try to short the lows. And the candle flips bearish, quote unquote bearish. And then what happens is usually a lot more sellers step in. And that's when that absorption comes into fruition. So people trying to sell it, price is not pushing down lower, and then it can potentially flip again. And that gives us the chance of potentially pushing deeper into that resistance. So taking the opposite side of the market pretty much in that resistance. But that means waiting for the bearish flip first. And that happens when we are there as well. When we're in this zone as well. So you see a lot of these things combined, right? Giving us a potential retracement and stuff. That's why I think I will keep it. I'll keep it at that level right now. Okay. And see what happens. And not trying to long in that zone. In that zone. At the moment. Yes. So yeah, okay, I'm a buy limit set. Let's see what happens with the markets, guys. I'm really curious to see how this will develop over time. And I think I will be back again tomorrow at 8:30. Tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Okay? So even earlier, 30 minutes before today, because you can see that that 30 minute earlier makes an actual difference. It really makes a difference. Because the volume then comes in at like 9. And then, you know, for example, we streamed today at like 9:15. So that means that the big move already happened. And that you only would look for a small continuation move. Whereas the larger move was right around here. That was actually very clean. Right here. Right, that was the retracement right there with the undervaluation, etc. So that's why right now looking to short this is so risky. And looking to buy here is just too high in that resistance. So that's why the limit is there. That's why I'm waiting for that confirmation and that pullback. Okay. All right. To be honest, I freaking love the Asia sessions. I think it's chill. I think it's good vibes. I think you guys are chill and sharing good vibes. Maybe it's because of gold flipping bullish after a multi-month period. I guess it makes sense. I would also be happy to see gold pushing up higher a little bit, see a little bit of a retracement. But yeah, anyways, you guys already saw the macro analysis of how this could be just a temporary move up. But at least let's take advantage of it, man. Let's see what we can do. All right. Okay, guys, I have to go. I have to go to the gym. After the gym, I have to come back. I have to talk to my community. I have I have a session to do. And I have also work to do. And I also have a DJ set I need to fix. There are a couple things I need to do. But the levels are set. And the next levels are sitting right below as well. Right here. Okay, we just talked about it as well. The 4290. So yeah, pay attention to these zones. And yeah, let's see what happens in zone number 1. And if you see any reaction from it, I do expect a nice reaction on that level. And I'm just going to mark out my alerts. And I'll get notified when I'm in. Okay? Set and forget situation. It's also the Monday Open, right? Today. It's the opening of the week. And we're trading and we're dealing with a gap. So regardless, I am willing to enter above it and see how it goes. We'll see. Okay. Awesome, guys. Thank you for coming on. I hope to see you tomorrow. 30 minutes earlier if you can. If you are watching consistently. 30 minutes earlier because I prefer to enter before the moves happen. So we can actually anticipate on this already earlier. So you see clearly that around 9 the volume kicks in. So instead of starting at 9:15, we should start at 8:30. Yeah, I think it makes sense. All right. Cool, guys. Thank you, guys. And I'll looking forward to see you. You can download my book for free, right? You can also learn about the volume profile and everything by just going to the ltconcepts.io in the chat. You type in your email, you get your email sent to you. Or the ebook sent to you in like 5 minutes. And yeah, it looks like this, and you can learn about all the settings, the exact reasons of the levels, etc., etc., etc. There are a lot of things to learn there. Okay? So you understand what I'm talking about on the stream. So it's not all Fugazi language. You can understand why I'm saying it. And that's why I created the book. So it gives more context to the streams as well. Okay? All right, guys. See you later. Looking forward to see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. EST, New York time, evening. For me, morning. Asia. Yes? All right. Much love, guys. See you later. Take care. Ciao, ciao.
Push the limit, break the chain.
All right. Much love, fam.